Hi, welcome to Successful Online Learning for Children on the Autism Spectrum. My name is Amanda Ewell, and I am a teacher in the Toronto District School Board, and I also write books for teachers. The last book I wrote was for classroom teachers who had autistic students in their class. And so this topic is really close to my heart, and I am so glad you're here on a weekend. Thank you so much for coming. I just wanted to say that this is the Parents and Caregivers as Partners Conference. And I wanted to apologize for when teachers have not treated you as a parent or a caregiver as a partner, because that is truthfully what you are. I know sometimes you may have been blamed for your child's behavior or scolded or treated badly, certainly not treated as partners. And just on behalf of teachers, I want to say I'm so sorry that that happened. And I so hope that going forward, we can be true partners as teachers and as parents, because truthfully, you are the expert on your child, and we can certainly partner together and learn from each other. This last year, I taught grade 5 online all year. And one of my autistic students was my timekeeper. He let me know when we were near the end of a period in case I was thinking of going overtime. And he was really, really good keeping us on time last year. And he had a very successful year. In fact, he found being online a bit easier than in person because of the reduced social interactions. And he did get to make friends. It took a bit of time, but he did get to make friends online. And so that's our goal, that our children have successful online learning experiences. And especially if you have to transition from in person and then maybe there's a COVID case at your school and you have to transfer to online, right? How can we make that transition easier? What can we do to ensure successful learning? Okay, so the first thing is, how do we help our children with virtual schoolwork? So we want to make sure that the technology is useful and not working against our children. So it might be that you find the internet is a bit slow or that your child gets frustrated with the speed. And so you can plug the computer right into the modem. So instead of going over Wi-Fi, have it plugged in. You might find that that makes it a bit faster. Also, sometimes students don't like seeing themselves in the picture in the corner of the screen there. And so you might just want to minimize the pictures. Maybe just the teacher's picture is up, or maybe no pictures are up. It might just be too much. So I want to show you some really useful technology for you at home that you can help your child with schoolwork, because I know when your children are online, it's a lot of work for the parents. So let's maybe reduce some of that workload for you. Uh, So all the things I'm going to be showing you are Google Classroom, Google Chrome extensions. And so in order to get a Google Chrome extension, you just go into Google Chrome, and in the chat, you can type Chrome extensions. And that will take you to the Google Chrome web store, and you just click on extensions. Then you type in the name of the extension. Today, I'm going to be showing you Cami, right? And then it comes up here and you can add it to your Google Chrome. So what happens is I'm going to be showing you the Google Chrome extension, Google Read and Write. Oops, there we are. So when you go into Google Chrome, right here, you can see it says extensions there. It's a puzzle piece, kind of looks like a blob, but it's a puzzle piece, and you click on it, and here are all of my Google Chrome extensions. So if you download Read and Write for Google, you just click on it, and then this toolbar will show up on any page that your child is on. And what it really does well is it'll read. So if you have to do a lot of reading for your child, or if your child's not able to keep up with the reading, maybe they're just going too quickly in class, what you do is you click on the beginning of what you want it to read, and then you just click play, and you can hear it.
The Anishinaabe are a group of culturally related Indigenous peoples present in the Great Lakes region of Canada and the United States.
Right? And then you just click stop when you want it to stop. And you can go back over things a few times. You can hear it's not perfect. This is the Anishinaabe, not the Anishinaabe. However, it does save you a lot of work if you're doing all of the reading. The next thing I want to show you is if you're doing a lot of scribing, or if the teacher is doing a lot of scribing for your student, how they can do that on their own. So you go open up a Google document and you go to Tools. And under Tools, you can click Voice Typing. And when you do that, this little microphone is going to show up. When you click on the microphone, it will type out anything that is being said. So here you can see that it is typing out exactly what I'm saying, comma. The only difficulty is you have to say the punctuation on your own period. All right, and then you see that I unclicked it, because if you don't unclick it, it will just keep on writing down everything you're saying, right? Which is not what you want. So this is great if you're doing a lot of scribing to lessen your workload and to help your child be more successful online. And especially when they've been at school and maybe the teacher's been scribing, but online they're not able to do as much of it. The last thing I want to show you is if your teacher is sending your child a lot of pages that you have to print out, and then your child fills it in, and then you have to scan it back in and send it back to the teacher, I'm going to show you how to make it a little bit easier. So this Google Chrome extension is called Cami. So here it is, and you can also download it from the Google Chrome web store. And when you open up Cami, it opens up PDFs. So I'm going to open up a PDF from my computer. Last year we did the musculoskeletal system in grade 5. So here it is. So what you can do with this is you can write anywhere you like. You just click on the text box, and then you go and you click wherever you want to write, and then you write in whatever it is you want to write. So and you can move it around, right? You can move it around wherever you want it to go. And here you can see you can write in any color you want. You can make it bigger and smaller, right? You can also draw. So here I'm going to circle this. Right, so it shows you how you can write on the PDF and send it right back to the teacher. Now, sometimes they might not send a PDF. They may send perhaps a Word document. So you can change Word documents into PDFs. So if they give you a Word document, for example, so they sent this, okay, so, okay, so let's say they sent you a Word document, right? So what you do to change it into a PDF is you go to File and Print, right? So you go to Print it, and at the bottom here it says PDF, and you can just save it as a PDF, and that way your child can write on it without you printing it out, filling it out, sending it back in, right? So these all can help your child to be more successful and more independent, which is what really we're looking for. Okay. So that's useful technology that you can use to help yourself and your child. The next thing that we want to talk about is setting the expectations with the school. So if the school, if you go online, if you're online all year, or if you go online because of COVID happening in the school, you want to make sure that you and the teacher as partners figure out what will the expectations be for the next 2 weeks or for the next 2 months. It often takes longer for students to do work online because they have to download it, fill it out, and send it back. And so you might want to say to the teacher, perhaps the first week will just be about how do you do everything online, not about handing in any work, right? And perhaps the next week will be about, just doing half of the work. Because often the expectations might be a little bit too high, or it might be too low. Perhaps your child is able to do more than the average student because they love computers. They already know what they're doing. And so you can say to the teacher, please make sure there's enrichment activities available. And if they're using maybe Epic online, or if they're using IXL for math online, they would just be able to do the next grade level up or a more difficult book. Finally, with the schoolwork, we want to be using our child's strengths. And so this one student who always kept the time and things, he loved computers, he loved time. And so I might let him write about time or write about computers. And in the writing, he would do better work than if he had to write about something I chose, right? So he could write a poem about computers. He could do, how to open up Google Chrome extensions, we were using his strengths to help him do well in all areas of school. I remember there was one girl, she loved baking shows. She was minimally verbal, and when she was done her work, we would allow her to watch baking shows on YouTube. And I got hooked on baking shows because I actually like baking. And I was like, oh no, I'm supposed to be influencing my students, and my students are also influencing me. And now I love Chef John from foodwishes.com on YouTube. However, for her, in math, for example, we could relate the fractions to baking. You know, for this recipe, would you use a half cup or a quarter cup of flour, right? And that really helped her in using her strengths. So those are some ways to help your child be successful when you have to transition to online school. Okay, next we want to talk about emotional regulation. So our students, our children are online all day. They're looking at a screen, and that just might be too much. There might just be way too much sensory input for our children. And you know, they're triggered by too much noise, by too many screen changes, by just all of the information coming in, and they escalate and are unable to calm themselves down. So in that case, we are going to help them de-escalate so they can go back to learn more instead of just losing it for the whole day. So we're going to use some de-escalation strategies. So if we think that there's been too much sensory input, we're going to take away that sensory input. We're going to let the teacher know, I'm so sorry. We're just going to be gone for 10, 15 minutes. We're going to turn off the computer, turn off the lights. We're going to go to a quiet room, which may be the only quiet room in your place might be the bathroom because there's a crying baby and there's an older student online. And, you know, we have to do the best we can. Perhaps the bathtub might be a quiet place where we can help our child calm down. The other thing is we might want to let them listen to music. We might want to give them their favorite thing. You know, just do what they would like for 10 minutes. We might have them press their hands together as tight as they can, right? We might have them, they might want to be under a blanket, right? So we're going to take away the sensory input. The next thing is there might not be enough sensory input. Perhaps just looking all day and using their eyes is not enough input. They need to feel things. They need to move. They need, right, more sensory input. So again, we're going to let the teacher know, oh, we're just going to take a 10-minute break. You know, maybe our child swore at the teacher and we want them to apologize, but we can't get them to apologize if they haven't calmed down yet. So we're just going to de-escalate first, and then maybe even tomorrow, you know, deal with the swearing, and maybe even in 2 hours deal with what could have gone better and how we'll do it differently next time, right? So we're going to de-escalate by giving them more sensory input. So we're going to put their backpack on them with their heavy books. We're going to have them walk up and down the hallway, you know, around and around the kitchen and the living room. We're going to have them you know, put on the weighted blanket or the weights that we have for exercising. We're going to give them a good strong hug if that's what they like, right? And increase the sensory input that they are getting, because that's what helps them de-escalate. So if one isn't working, you're taking away the sensory input and they're still not calming down, maybe try giving them some sensory input, because these things will help them calm down. Now, maybe we see that our child, they haven't reached yet the point where they can't bring themselves back, but we can see they're anxious. They're bouncing up and down. They're saying the same words over again. They're hitting their head. You know your own child's anxious behaviors. And so we're going to help them calm down. And a lot of children really do well with fidget toys, right? They have the squeezy ball in their hand. They have the spinner in their hand. It's down below where everyone can see it, you know, not distracting anyone else. They have a bouncy ball they're on instead of the chair, right? Maybe we need to help them just breathe in, hold it, breathe out, hold it. The little kids love dandelions, birthday candles. The older kids, they might just need some music going on in the background. So in one ear, they have their favorite music, and in the other ear, they have the classroom, right? Just we're going to try a whole bunch of different things. I remember one of my students, he had a margarine tub full of rice, uncooked rice, and he would just run his hands through it when he was anxious. And I thought, this kid must know my grandmother, because she never has margarine in her margarine tubs. She always has, yeah, cooked rice or macaroni or mashed potatoes. Tend to be carbs in my grandmother's margarine containers in the fridge. So we're going to do what we can to help them stay calm. We're going to teach them when you're feeling anxious, when you find yourself saying the words over and over again, you're going to start using your fidget spinner, right? The next thing is we're going to sort of change our mindset. Instead of just surviving, oh, I hope we can make it through these 2 weeks online, we want them to thrive because they can really do very well. Um, and when we're sort of expecting them to do well and we're talking about how well they're doing and how we're going to thrive and working with their strengths and even how they can teach other kids things that they know, they really get the idea, oh, like I can do this. I'm going to thrive. And sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes the first 2 weeks, we are just surviving. The first 2 months, we are just surviving. And it can be that over time, they really do thrive online. Socializing online takes more time. If your child is online for the whole year, just be ready that it'll take longer for them to make friends online than they do in person. In person, they go out to recess and they play games and they chat and there's extracurricular activities. And that's okay that it's going to be taking time online. You might overhear the students talking about a video game that you know your child has, and we can ask the teacher, is it okay if they go into a breakout room for 5 minutes at the end of the day and talk about the video game? We can ask the teacher, is it okay to ask the children to ask permission from their parents to exchange email addresses so they can meet after school and play the video games or talk about the books they like or watch cooking shows together, right? Also, there's other groups that have online activities, right? You might find Scouts of Canada or Girl Guides of Canada or Variety Village has online activities where your child can meet with other students that have the same interests as them. We do want to make sure that our children are being safe. If they are meeting to play a video game, we want to make sure that only students from their class are in the room and they're not allowing strangers on. And we want to check the chat to make sure there is no bullying going on. Every once in a while, just walk by, check out the chat. If there's bullying online, it often happens in the chat or in the breakout rooms. And so we just want to monitor that. And we want to let the teacher know, that that's a good time to monitor. A lot of teachers turn off the chat for that reason. So we want to make sure that our parental controls are up to date and that we are monitoring it. So here's some resources for you and your child that can really help with being successful online. The autobiography Born on a Blue Day is by an autistic man. It is funny, it's easy to read, it's great for older teens who feel like I'm the only one, nobody else has these troubles. And it tells about how he was able to work through some of the troubles he had. The picture book, All Cats Have Asperger's Syndrome, is a great way to introduce autism to a class, any age class. It is for younger children, but it is also great for high school classes to introduce autism to help start a conversation about it. The website wrongplanet.net is by autistic people for autistic people, and there are many forums and chats there that cover a range of topics, including relationships, including eye contact, including how to get a job, and including video games. So again, for teens, it's a great place to go to feel I'm not the only one. This professional book is the one I wrote. So this is my book, What's the Difference? Building on Autism Strengths, Skills, and Talents in Your Classroom. And so if your child's teacher has not taught many autistic students before, you can recommend this book to them. I believe it's in the Union Library, so they can check it out there. There's also a couple of really great organizations. I mentioned Variety Village. It's kind of like a gym or sports center and it's integrated. So they have wheelchair basketball, they have swimming lessons for everyone. This is a place where your child can go and experience friends of all different kinds, and they're not going to get kicked out for behavior. There's going to be people there, coaches who know how to handle lots of different types of behavior and to help them show their strengths and have fun. Surrey Place is a really great organization for parents. They have a lot of webinars, a lot of information. They do have help for your child. They can talk about the funding and how to get funding for that. So I really recommend all of that. So thank you so much for coming today and listening to this session. I hope you really enjoy the other sessions. If you have questions, please do write in the chat your questions. And if you'd like to private message me your email address, I will send you the answer to those questions. And have a really good day. Thank you very much. Bye.